In my building projects, I like to avoid metal fasteners as much as I can. Usually with careful planning, you can work ways around it. It's just something I prefer to do. But there are instances where the proper fastener is a nail. Well, the other day somebody gave me this catalog that actually shows the old style square nails for sale. Now, when I was a kid, we never had new nails. Like a brand spanking new nail like this was almost unheard of. We were dealing with nails. Everything we were building was with old nails. Buckets of rusty old nails that had been sitting in a barn, that had been pulled out of some old building or something. But we found we just naturally gravitated toward using the square ones. They were always, the nail that we wanted. We had no preconceived notions of what made a good nail. But if we had a bucket of old rusty round ones, or a bucket of old rusty square ones, the square ones are what we went for. Now the theory behind them is that they actually don't split. And I guess that's what we found. Like here I drove in a round nail and it immediately started splitting the wood out. Now the square ones, they don't. They push in different. There's a diagram here. I don't know if you can actually see it. Kind of an odd catalog. Lee Valley. Never heard of them before, but they have a lot of expensive tools. Or odds and ends, like they even have the paint that is of the type that I like to use with that ochre in it. It's old stuff, though, expensive new stuff too. You run into these high-end catalogs that are always interesting. But it got me thinking about these nails, because there are places like, say, where you're nailing on roof boards or something. Well, really the logical choice is a nail. You could peg them. It has been done. But a nail makes more sense. But the idea of using just regular nails doesn't really appeal to me. Well, digging in my stuff, I found I had a bunch of these square nails. What I call cut nails. These are 8D cut nails. But that's a very good possibility of using those. And they've got an interesting, they're tapered, but they're also tapered this way so that when they go in, then, like the diagram shows, those fibers bend, but then it's narrower up at the top, so then the fibers pull back to kind of lock it in. I happen to have a box full of these, which are like the modern equivalent. These are made for putting in hardwood flooring, and I'm not talking about the vinyl or composite stuff. This is the old hardwood flooring. These nails, they actually, a whole like magazine or a clip of these fits into a driver that then they drive in at an angle in the tongue and groove, so that the head is never exposed. It's in the groove. But there's a special tool that you hold, that these go into, and then you just whack this punch kind of thing with a hammer to drive those in. But I ended up with these from some rummage sale or something. But interesting nail. But like I say, these do the same thing. And they're kind of a rough finish to them. So when they go in there, they kind of hold pretty good. But I was going to try. I drove in, I could see this immediately started splitting. This one didn't split at all. pull them out and just see how much resistance. Because this is oak, and you can get a lot of resistance. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the answer. You know, they cut a nice clean hole going in. I'll have to check next time I'm in town and see if you can still buy these. You know, rather than order them. I mean, it's good to see that this company has them. They're really for reproduction period restoration kind of thing. But they have a good practical purpose. I think I like them better than a regular nail. Though these, like I said, I got a whole pile of these. I have no idea what I'm ever going to do with them, but I got them real cheap for a great big box of them. Left over from somebody's flooring project. But for my purposes, these and maybe the next size bigger. These are 8D cut. If I get a 10D, you know, you're looking at a longer, bigger nail. For a lot of things, these would do the trick. But, you know, I think it's just interesting that, you know, as kids, like I say, we naturally gravitated toward these. These were our nail of choice. You know, interesting to hear if people have experience with them, but I think for me that is the nail to use. I would feel better about it. I know on my parents' house, part of the house, what I did, I re-roofed it one time. Part of the house, the old part of the house was done with these square nails. Then the newer part that had been added on was done with the regular nail. But you can usually judge kind of the age of a building by the type of nails used. But I think if a guy's got to use a nail, I think that might be the choice. You know, it says one of the advantages is that you can nail closer to the edge without splitting, and I can see where that's true. Yeah, it says the fibers act like a feather board on a table saw, preventing the nail from withdrawing. I know one thing you would certainly not get the rotation that you can from a regular nail. You know, if you nail two boards together, it's still easy to pivot them. Well, these would kind of lock those. Yeah, I think might be the way to go. I feel better about it, about using nails that were correct.